Andrew, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Before we get into conversation, perhaps let's just give context to some of our viewers in terms of what we're talking about. Let's take a look, listen at this.
It's not totally a stokvel. We like to call it a gifting group because you can actually gift your investment to someone else and not take the proceeds yourself. But first, let's have a look how the whole thing comes together and how it does work. So you'll get invited to one of these groups by one of your friends and so on via a WhatsApp link. When you come onto the group, you will clearly notice that the first 5 places are, and sometimes even more, 6, 7, 8, you might be the 11th person coming in, would be already filled. What you will see is that the first top 5 people have already paid their dues, made their investment to get into the group. Then what is left for the rest of the people in the group is actually to introduce the concept to friends and family, usually 2 or 3, to get the group filled up to number 11. As you come in, you would be placed, let's say, at number 6. You would have paid your dues to your investment to John. And then you would help the rest of the 5 top people introduce the concept to other people. Once the group has been filled with, as you can see, the rest of the group, these people have all paid their investment to John. When that gets to that point, we say the group has filled up, and then we split the group.
Right, let's reintroduce into the conversation Andrew Lukele. He's from the National Stokvel Association of South Africa. So when you have to build onto something that already exists and there's many other people below you and you have to take money out of that, some would say that is a pyramid scheme. So what do you know about this WhatsApp gifting?
Yeah, I think this is one of the latest in many of these schemes which masquerade as stokvels. I'm sure you know that by last year or so, there were many of these stokvel, so-called stokvel or WhatsApp stokvels. Now, while we encourage people to come up with financial innovations and engineering, we are very wary of people who use the term stokvel for some of the dodgy operations that they're involved in. Now, the only thing that we can do is to distinguish between what looks like a genuine stokvel or a pyramid scheme. We can only talk for those people. Remember, we have about 11 million people in South Africa who are members of stokvels. And once you start saying this is a WhatsApp stokvel, people get interested because you are playing in their territory that they are used to in the form of a genuine stokvel or indigenous stokvel. So what is being presented here looks like a pyramid scheme because people are promised returns which look very greater than what is offered in the market. Now, as soon as people join those stokvels, in many instances, or in most instances, people end up losing money because this scheme is dependent on the recruitment of new members. There comes a time when that recruitment is not sufficient to satisfy every participant, and that so-called stokvel collapses, and people lose money as a result.
I guess in their defense, they are calling it a WhatsApp gifting scheme. But when we talk about a stokvel, perhaps just to remind people of how that works as opposed to what it is that we're seeing here.
Yeah, I think stokvels have been there for many years. And 2 basic tenets have sustained stokvels, which is trust and peer pressure. To enhance that trust and peer pressure, it means people must be recruited from the same neighborhood. These are people who know each other very well with their next of kin and siblings. So trust is key. Now, if you join a stokvel, you have to be in the first meeting of constituting that stokvel. In other words, you'll be familiar with the objectives of that stokvel. The rules of the stokvels will be determined by all the members. Rules such as how much are we going to contribute, how many members are we going to have, how often are we going to meet. So that enhances transparency. As a result, stokvels have been there for many years, and the default rate in stokvel is very minimal. So it's very important that people must know each other. Now, if you compare the scenario that I've just painted, you'll see that people in the WhatsApp stokvels are invited by faceless people, and fellow participants in that stokvel are not known. As a result, when something goes wrong, there's no recourse. You can't go to the chairperson and say, hey, someone has transgressed the clause X in our constitution. So everything is done in the dark. So chances of losing money in that environment is great.
Do we know how you even get the money into this scheme? So you say that some of the people are not known, but sometimes you are recruited by somebody that knows you. They'll share the video with you and tell you, look, I also made money from this, so you can make money too. Do you know how monies are actually exchanged?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. Pyramids, in many instances, are masters, or the people behind them are masters of group psychology. In other words, they have to get someone closer to you who will convince you that this thing is working. That's how they try to get a little bit of trust and belief that this thing is working. What I know in the past was that people pay money using electronic system. So it could be bank accounts or whatever. I don't have details of this particular one. But yes, because they need the money quickly, they use electronic transfer systems.
If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Thank you very much for your time. Andrew Lukele from the National Stokvel Association.